Welcome, everyone, to USPBL Baseball here on the USPBL Network. Today we have the visiting Utica Unicorns and the home Eastside Diamond Hoppers, and a whole lot of fun going on in the ballpark. Jeremy Otto alongside Brendan Shabat to bring you the call here today. Oldies night, so that's why the classic cars have made their way onto the field here today. Also Thirsty Thursday, presented by Dave & Buster's, and First Tee Detroit night. So a lot of things going on. The crowd really starting to congregate outside as they make their way into Jimmy John's Field, but we have a good matchup here today as well.
Yeah, and a beautiful, warm night for baseball. A lot of stuff going on at the ballpark. It should be a really fun day. Perfect day for baseball.
This year, My Michigan TV pregame show. If you're in the stands, we welcome you to the first part of our broadcast. A new thing, thanks to My Michigan TV. If you're listening on or watching on the broadcast as well, we welcome you here as well. Two teams in a little bit of a different spot. These Unicorns were really on top of the league all throughout the start of the season. They still are, but 3-3 in their last 6.
Yeah, we've moved into the second half of the season after the All-Star break with the Home Run Derby and the All-Star game, and they haven't quite fared as well as we thought they would compared to the first half of the season. And that's largely in part because of the new additions from the other teams. The Beavers have totally retooled their roster. They're the only other team above 500 now. The Hoppers have made some new additions. They've added some new bats, some new life. The Mammoths, too, have moved some things around, brought in some new guys. They're starting to hit the ball, too. The numbers said they were going to. Now they are. So it's not so much that the Unicorns are not playing as well. They're still the best team in the league. They've got the only hitters above 300 in the league, and there's 3 of them at the top of the order. But it's more so that just the other teams have kind of caught up. But they had a few games off. They didn't play any of the public games last week. They're going to be busy moving forward, but it's nice as a player. You know, you always have that expectation, especially when you're as good as the Unicorns have been, is to win. And, you know, we were kind of joking with some of the guys pregame and they said, yeah, 3-3 in our last 6, not very good, but we get a couple days off, we're back at it. We want to go undefeated here in the second half, and they've got a chance to do it. It starts tonight.
Riggleman on the mound for them. Your pitcher comparison brought to you by Ascension each and every game. And on the other side, a guy who's fairly new to starting here, Eddington, but not new to it in general.
Yeah, Eddington did get some starts in college. He's going to be getting more going forward, it sounds like. The early numbers for him through only 6 appearances look pretty good. Way more strikeouts than walks. The ERA is still pretty low. And he's got a lot of innings, too. That's one thing we see a lot this year. Some guys get 6, 7, 8, 9 appearances, but they don't get above 15 innings. He stretches his appearances out. He gets his money's worth when he goes out on the mound, makes every opportunity count, and he's been really good. We'll see if those numbers can stay as he gets more opportunities moving forward. But right now, everything is on track for him to be one of the best pitchers in the league. We'll see how he does against the best lineup in the league.
Wazinski has decided to step away from baseball, so he will not be a part of this rotation going forward. His last start was in the non-public the other day on Tuesday, so that does open up some opportunities for some other guys to step into starting roles.
Yeah, I think Eddington is obviously the candidate, the favorite to kind of take over that starting role. And we knew that before Wazinski made his decision to step away. We thought if the Hoppers picked up a guy or if they cut a guy, that Eddington was probably going to step into that starter's role. They still have a good bullpen. They still have DeSanti on the back end who's going to close games out for them. I think they're still in a really good spot, and Eddington could just add to that moving forward.
I know we talk about it ad nauseum sometimes, but for those of you who have never attended a game here, maybe that do attend games, the one thing you do know, the wind plays a huge factor into this ballpark. Whether it's the highway or just the way the ballpark is positioned, when the wind is going, it's going, and there were some wind-aided home runs from what we hear yesterday as well.
Well, there were 5 total home runs yesterday from guys who have hit home runs all year and some guys who haven't. Some were wind-aided, some were not. That's what the story was. But when you see 5 in a game, obviously there's some offense in the league, but that's a little bit of an anomaly. We'll see what it looks like today. The wind in batting practice now, again, ad nauseum like we've talked about this year. Batting practice wind is not the same as game wind. It does change a lot. It seems like, 7 o'clock, we're gonna take the wind away. It goes down. We'll see if it keeps up. But there were some balls that were hit hard and far in batting practice. Ari Sakopoulos had one in particular, the league-leading home run hitter. He had one disappear into the trees. Nobody knows where it came down. I think it's over the Clinton River. That might be a fish's souvenir rather than a person's. But we'll see if the wind can keep up. If it does, I think we're going to see some home runs today. It sounds like the line pregame is around 2.5 or 3. Don't be afraid of the over.
Yeah, everybody speculating that around the ballpark here today. Always kind of fun to watch that during batting practice. Well, a guy who's kind of locked in the non-public, something you have not been able to see for the most part at home, is Noah Marcoux, and that's a long time coming for a lot of people around the league. As soon as he got here, everyone talked about his short, compact swing, how good it looked, but not really starting to see results.
Yeah, he caught up to kind of a lot of the other guys who we knew were going to make strides, and it was just a matter of time. We've seen a lot of guys like we talked about in the Mammoths lineup. We've seen some other guys in this Hoppers lineup, on the Unicorns as well. Marcoux was one of those guys that we said, okay, slow start. We think, and the numbers in the past show that he has what it takes to play here, and he has what it takes to be a good hitter. It seems like now he's made that adjustment, he's gained that confidence a little bit, and he's made that step forward. We just haven't been lucky enough to see it in a public game. We should hopefully see it soon.
Well, a good host of games this week. You obviously have a game tomorrow, a doubleheader on Saturday as well. Look forward to either seeing it in person here at the ballpark or here on the USPBL network. For those of you in the stadium, enjoy the game. And we'll be back after this with the lineups on the broadcast here on the USPBL network. Stick with us.
How do these business owners find the time for peace of mind? Because they rely on Tryon to handle difficult and time-consuming HR tasks like payroll, benefits administration, and more. Working with Tryon, one of the nation's top professional employer organizations, provides access to top-tier healthcare and employee benefit plans and its team of attorneys and HR experts. With Tryon, you don't have to grow it alone. Visit RelyOnTryon.com.
You can always rely on Tryon.
Jeremy and Brendan back with you here from the ballpark. So glad you could tune in on this Thursday evening from downtown Utica, Michigan. The broadcast is sponsored by the following: Balfour Property Restoration, Ascension, Budweiser, DTE Energy, Fifth Third Bank, Jarpcom, Jimmy John's, Macomb Community College, McLaren Macomb, McQuaid Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Refrigeration, Metro Detroit Chevy Dealers, Pepsi, Scott's, and UWM. We thank all those fine partners for what they do for this league. Bright, sunny day and a windy day as well, though it has died down in the last couple moments as we hit the air again here from Jimmy John's Field, but we could definitely see some more home runs here today. Let's take a peek at your starting lineups for today's game. First, for the visiting Utica Unicorns here today, it'll be Drew Glossy, who will lead things off and play center field. Malik Bolin bats second and plays left once again. That's kind of been his spot in the last 10 games or so. Andy Castro will bat third and play right. Ari Sakopoulos back in the cleanup spot. He had a really nice BP here today for whatever that means, playing first base. Noah Childress will bat fifth and DH. Kevin Lambert bats sixth and plays third base. Matt Parkinson back at the catching spot. Louis Attilis and Jonathan Hodo will round things out as Adam Rugelman takes the hill for the Unicorns here today. As for the home Eastside Diamond Hoppers, it'll be Alex Pup leading things off and playing short. Blake Porter bats second and plays center here today. Yadi Rivera back in the heart of the lineup along with Joe Burke, Nick Kreitzer, and Bryant Schallenberger here today. Whit Hughes will bat seventh and catch. Sean Lawler hits eighth and plays left field. And Walker Paws will route things out and play second base here today as they send Derek Eddington to the bump. Now time for Brendan's keys to the game here today. What do you think?
Well, one thing we've talked about a lot this year is the lefty bats. And for the Hoppers, they have a bunch of lefties. in their lineup. Today, it'll be 6 of them, and the wind is blowing out to right field. So it'll be which lefty can take advantage of the wind. Now, again, this wind could very well die down by the time we hit 7:05 and first pitch comes, and it won't even be a factor. But if the Hoppers want to take advantage of it, they're the home team. They got to get a quick 1-2-3 inning. Maybe they can get their lefty bats up in the first inning, but also Ari Sakopoulos has been the best left-handed hitter league-wide, the best hitter league-wide, I think, this year, too, as far as power goes and putting the ball in the seats out in right field. And with the wind today, he had a couple, like you mentioned, in batting practice, and he's got another opportunity, if the wind keeps up, to do it live in this game.
Now, to look at some of those classic cars here today that align the warning track pretty much from third base to first base. A cool thing for fans to kind of walk around and see that. They were trying to get fans off the field by the time just a couple minutes ago when we were in break there to get the game moving here today and get those cars out. But always a cool thing, and I forget who we were talking to back on the field and talked about the uniforms last year for the Mammoths. Really cool hot rod, type uniforms. Not today. These just 2 regular uniforms for these 2 teams, but Oldies Nights, definitely a cool promotion overall. Anything else you're looking for out of these 2 teams here today?
I think it's going to be interesting to see these 2 starters, like we talked about, Derek Eddington and Adam Riggleman, both present a lot of different pitches and tendencies than we've seen the rest of the league use and that we've seen the rest of the league be successful with. So I'm interested to see how that fares. Riggleman is a very much pitch-to-contact guy. Lefties, righties, and overall everybody pretty much hits for average against him. He's leaned on the breaking balls a lot, but in his last start, we saw him use the fastball a little bit more, and it was pretty successful. I don't know if he's going to go back to that today, if he likes doing that, or if he wants to kind of stick with the breaking balls. And for Eddington, only a 3-pitch mix, 4-seam curveball splitter, and he really doesn't throw that splitter as much as the other 2. That poses an advantage for the Unicorns, especially a second and third time through the order. If they can see him that many times, maybe they start to pick those pitches up a little bit and he gets to get hit around. We'll see how it turns out. Both of these guys pretty good strikeouts to walk ratios too. We can see them go out there and get some swings and misses. It'll just be about who can pounce on those mistake pitches.
All right, it's the Hoppers and the Unicorns coming up next on the USPBL Network. Stick with us.
Slide into a new home. Work with a local mortgage pro who works for you. Get a cheaper, faster, easier home loan. Find a mortgage broker near you today at findamortgagebroker.com.
You hear about the promo that Jimmy's John's got going on? 5 off 20? How they pulling it off? Magic? You got David's Copperfields in there? Show yourself, Copperfields!
Jimmy John's. $5 off orders of 20 or more.
Getting ready for baseball here at Jimmy John's Field. Jeremy Idle back alongside Brendan Shabath to bring you the call here today. Derek Eddington will make his second start here this evening. Comes into play with a 177 ERA through 6 appearances and 20 innings.
Yeah, only 6 appearances for Eddington, but like we talked about, that 20 innings is pretty high for just those 6 innings. He's been really good in those innings as well. A sub-2 ERA, only 4 earned runs, 3 walks to 23 strikeouts. Those early numbers are really good for him. He's a guy that the higher-ups in the Hoppers room kind of feel like could be the guy moving forward. I think they are expecting and hope and think that he can be maybe their ace or, you know, a very good rotational piece for them, go on the bump every 5 or 6 days and give a really good 5 or 6 innings for the Hoppers.
So Eddington began his warm-up tosses, but then the cars started to move out. So he's like, maybe I'm not going to hit one of those, or just not going to pay attention to moving cars behind me while I'm throwing. So
you never know. Maybe not the mascot in Bull Durham, but maybe the cars here at Jimmy John's Field could be the one that gets hit. You don't want to run the risk. You never know.
So those cars going out in that left field gate, and they'll swing back to the outside here, and now Eddington is able to throw once again. Four-seam fastball, curveball splitter for Derek. 6'8", 218-pound righty out of Pickford, Michigan. Played at Davenport University in the GLIAC. Moved up from the NAI to Division II about 4 or 5 years back. Just over 90 degrees here at game time. We're kind of set to be that way for the next 5-6 days here in Metro Detroit. Then there's supposed to be a thunderstorm that rolls in on Sunday, which will cool off to 83, 85. It's going to feel like mid-70s probably.
Yeah. I've had that conversation with some people before, you know, on day games and stuff like that. You know, days where we're here, you know, I get here relatively early at the ballpark. We're here in the peak heat hours of the day, and then the sun goes down, and I'm leaving the ballpark, and it's 74, and I'm like, man, it's chilly. It's cold. You know, I get home, my parents have the windows open. I'm like, what are you doing? Close the windows. You know, turn on the heat. I'm freezing. But that's just because it feels like it's so much colder because we've been out there all day. And that's what it's going to feel like these next few days when it's under 90.
Don't get us wrong. We're cushy up here in the press box. The only heat we see is batting practice and pregame.
Correct.
But nice little air conditioning breeze blowing in. Here's Drew Galassi. Not a surprise, obviously, for a guy who's hitting at the top of the lineup, but a 330 average leading off innings. Done a really nice job setting the tempo. 250 overall this year with some definite extra base pop.
Kind of a textbook leadoff guy. Center fielder, got some speed, has some pop.
First pitch, fly ball to right center field. Porter under that, carrying a bit towards the warning track. That one will fade into the glove for out number 1.
A high pop-up for Galassi on the first pitch, and that can be a dangerous game to play on a day like today, like we talked about. That wind is still blowing out there. When you see the American flag, which is heavier than our pennants in left, when you see that thing moving, you know the wind is brisk, and I think that pop-up had a lot of wind behind it that took it just a few steps short of the warning track.
Here's Malik Bolin. First pitch slider off the plate outside. Or curveball for Eddington. Fastball curveball splitter. You'll see the slider a lot from Adam Riggleman in the next half. Likes that pitch a lot. Here's the 1-0. Fastball pounded foul there. Yeah, we're talking to a couple members that played in the game last night. It was the Mammoths and the Beavers, or yesterday morning, I guess you could say, at 11 o'clock, starting another kids' day in a non-public, but I guess Dakota McFadden hit a jam shot fly ball to left center field that went out, which in that part of the ballpark doesn't really go out unless, you know, you've tagged it and or wind aided, but McFadden isn't, you know, a guy that you doubt on any ball that would be muscled out of here, but
especially the way he's been playing lately. His last 5 games, he's been on a tear.
Pup will charge. Nice high hop for him as Burke applies the tag for the second out.
Good late adjustment there from Joe Burke. Kind of a risky play, but getting the job done.
Kind of interesting to watch how these shadows evolve at the start of games. You can already see it changing in the last couple weeks. Nearly the whole track between the mound and home plate is covered now. When you get a game a little bit earlier, sometimes you'll see a little gap with some sunlight peeking in on the hitter. But the pitcher in the bright sunshine right now here in the first. Here's Landy Castro, first pitch curveball away.
Yeah, I talked to Nick Caruso, catcher / first baseman for the Mammoths last weekend about the shadows, because you and I have speculated, and I wanted to get confirmation, like how bad is it really as a hitter? And he said, oh my God, it's horrible sometimes when that sun is in that right spot and it's a bright sunny day.
Little pop fly that's going to reach the glove of Paws there. It's a 1-2-3 quick inning for Derek Eddington in the top of the first, as we are still scoreless here on the USPBL network. Now time for your Thrifty Florist Sweethearts of the game. Chelsea Cooper going to present some flowers down there with JJ in our first row of seating. Thrifty Florist sponsors your Sweetheart of the game each and every game here at Jimmy John's Field. JJ's got to be hot down there today, huh?
He better have a water bowl nearby. It's a toasty one. I know the umpire that's going to get the water from him in the third is going to be very delighted to see him coming out there with that delivery.
Now time for your Jimmy John's Freaky Fast Facts here today as well. The New York Yankees won 8 of the 10 MLB World Series in the 50s. Boy, with the start this year, who knows?
That's not bad numbers, 80%.
The median home price in 1950 was $7,354. Wow, there you go.
Dang.
People would love to see that now.
Right.
A slice of pizza and a McDonald's hamburger both cost 15 cents in the 1960s. Your Freaky Fast Facts here on Oldies Night, presented by Jimmy John's. There's Adam Riggleman, the 6'2", 200-pounder out of Glenville State. Brings his four-seam fastball, slider, changeup, curveball, and very occasional sinker to the mix here tonight.
Yeah, nice 5-pitch mix for Riggleman. He uses them well. The interesting thing to me is the fastball and slider percentages. Those are his 2 most used pitches, far and away above the other 3, and that can be very tough for hitters. Guys who throw the slider well often make it look like a fastball for about 50% of its delivery to home plate. If you can tunnel it properly, it's hard to notice that. Riggleman hasn't quite perfected the slider, but he's used it to his advantage a lot this year.
Was mixing in some curveballs a little bit more evenly in his last appearance as well. When you look at that line score of what it was for him back on the 14th, that's the last time these Unicorns have played. 5 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs, 4 of them earned, 1 walk to 8 Ks. So that stands out, certainly the last part of that line. But the 8 hits and 5 runs, 4 of them earned doesn't really showcase what he did necessarily in that game. Big 6th inning for the Beavers, kind of breaking it open. He didn't pitch the entire inning, but regardless, most of those runs that came across were charged to him. Pup looks at a first pitch strike. Here's the 0-1. Slider away. And that slider is usually a little bit harder and fairly easily distinguishable between the curveball as well. You see there 77, 78. Curveball slower, 12-6 variety, 74, 75 is usually where he sits on that one. Now the 1-1, slider away. Time to check defense behind Riggleman, brought to you by Three-Dimensional Services Group. It's Bolin in left, Galassi in center, Castro's out and right, Sakopoulos and Lambert on the corners, Hodo and Attilis up the middle with Parkinson behind the plate. 2-1, high fly ball to right. Hodo, Castro, it's Castro who loses the ball cap for the first out. Brings up Blake Porter now. He's been one of the more consistent hitters in this lineup.
Yeah, I think Porter's been one of the best hitters league-wide in an overall aspect. I mean, hitting the ball at 286, slugging at 393. He steals bases as well. He's really good in the field. He's just an overall really good baseball player, really smart player, doesn't do a lot of things wrong, doesn't have a whole lot of weaknesses. A tough bat in the lineup, and he's on the left side too. A guy who we really haven't talked about that much this year as far as how good he's really been.
Fastball low, 2-1. It's interesting, too, when you look at the splits for Riggleman, there's not a lot of differences. Right, left, on base to start an inning. It's around low to mid 200s. So he's been very consistent against both sides thus far. And you mentioned it earlier as well as kind of the benchmark for starters or just pitchers in this league in general. It's 5, 6, 7 appearances, kind of when you get a real feel for what they might do going forward. And obviously, things can change, and DVS tweaks and mechanics and delivery that they really try to hammer home with these pitchers can change a lot as well. And you're going through things at times in a game. 3-2 in there for strike three. Fastball at 89. 2 up and 2 down. That's 5 up and 5 down for these two pitchers here tonight.
Yeah, I think Riggleman noticed he got that low second strike, went back to it for strike three. I thought it was pretty borderline. If you're Porter, though, in a 2-strike count, that's a little too close to take. Got to at least foul it off and live to fight another day.
Fastball's been as high as 93. A consistent 90-91, though, for this righty, who likes to work quick, as you see. Get in that groove. 1-0 tipped into the glove to Yadi Rivera. When you talk about the delivery value system and what Shane McCaddy and Mitch Aker really try to do with these pitchers, they like tempo. And really, it's a good practice for anybody not in affiliate ball and or Major League Baseball, because if you get to affiliate ball, you're faced with the pitch clock. If you get to the major leagues maybe in 2-3 years, you're probably going to be faced with the pitch clock. 2-1 is in for strike two, and really, maybe it's just the ominence of it being there and an option. There haven't been a lot of violations. The Unicorns had a warning, or the Hoppers had a warning the other day. Slider in on the hands. Rivera not thrilled with it, but that will be for strike three. Back-to-back K's looking for Riggleman. Both of these guys get a 1-2-3 first.
They call me Prospects. Since the day I was born as a diver's watch, the challengers of the world have taught me many things. Life is not a numbers game. It's about challenging ourselves. No matter what happens, just follow your heart. These pioneers drive our generation forward. Not by setting records, but by never giving up. Keep going forward. Prospects.
Available at Lucido Fine Jewelry.
Really nice, strong first inning for both of these arms. Kind of in both ways, power and contact. Eddington, who has gotten a decent amount of strikeouts, 23 to 20 innings of work thus far in his pro career. Got all contact outs. And Riggleman got a pair of Ks looking. Certainly the last call to Yadi Rivera, he wasn't a huge fan of on the slider.
That's that low strike that we've seen get stolen a lot this year. Parkinson is really good behind the plate at doing just that, stealing that low strike. I think it's going to be a tough day for hitters if they start to take that pitch. I think we're already seeing early on that the bottom of the strike zone is going to be expanded tonight.
Wind blowing heavily out in Sakopoulos' favor right now. 0-1, tied him up. In on the hands, a harder curveball that time, or maybe that's the splitter. 0-2 on Sakopoulos.
I think that was that splitter, that kind of straight sinking action. You know it's going to do that as a hitter, but it stays straight for so long. It's really hard to get low enough to stay under that pitch and launch that ball.
0-2, chopped on the ground, foul.
Well, you can see the confidence that Eddington has in that curveball, throwing it 0-2 in kind of a meaty spot. He did a nice job of keeping it low, but an 0-2 count, you really don't want to run the risk of throwing a mistake pitch and hanging a curveball to a hitter like Sakopoulos. Usually you're throwing something that's in the dirt low and away that he's going to chase.
Swing and a miss. The splitter on the inner half that time for strike three. His first K here tonight. 4 up and 4 down.
I really like that at-bat from Eddington. I like the way he mixed his pitches. Didn't go to the fastball too much. We saw 2 splitters and 2 curveballs, all in the bottom of the zone, all really tough spots to hit. You could tell Sakopoulos liked him. He wanted to hit those pitches too, but they're just off speed enough and low enough that he can't get a barrel on those.
First pitch to Childress. Curveball outside, 1-0. Second inning today brought to you by Budweiser. We thank Budweiser for their partnership with the USPBL network this year. Pitchers locked in here early on. 1-0, fastball high at 91 and by the DH here for the Unicorns tonight. It's kind of the spot that Noah Childress has been at this entire season. Played some first, played some third, played some outfield last year as well. Splitter high, 2-1 now.
He's just been such a consistent bat in the lineup for the Unicorns. 4th in the league in average at .316. Only 4 guys hitting above 300 league-wide. We talked about how 3 of them belong to this Unicorns lineup, and Childress has been one of them. Not a ton of power, maybe not quite the power we would expect.
Fly ball to right, look out with the wind. Schellenbarger going back to the edge of the warning track as he makes that catch.
That was a close one. I know Derek Eddington is breathing a sigh of relief right now. That's one of those ones as a pitcher, you quickly turn your head and watch that ball fly and just say, oh no, please don't. And he got a little bit lucky. That wind was really trying to push that ball out.
And most of the power for Childress comes to the pull side, so would have been a little bit unusual to see him get one out there. But nonetheless, now 5 up and 5 down for Eddington. Having a little bit of trouble locating that splitter here early on. But the pitch count, very efficient, 16. With 2 outs already recorded here in the second. The 1-0. Curveball away. This is the second game of the week for the Hoppers with their non-public on Tuesday. For the Unicorns, it is their first. So the Unicorns probably with a little bit more leeway in terms of their bullpen going forward. We'll see what happens, how it all unfolds. Fastball at 90 in for strike 1.
I was wondering when Eddington was going to get back to that fastball as Lambert, I think he might have been expecting off speed, just wasn't quite ready. That's middle 2-0. That's a good fastball count to expect as a hitter.
On the ground up the middle, going to hug the bag and sneak into center field for a base hit. So that, the first base runner of the game for either of these two teams.
Yeah, and Lambert, I think, just needed to see that one fastball. Eddington came back again, middle, behind in the count. Tried to pump another fastball in there for a strike, and that time Lambert was ready for it. I think the velocity got on him a little bit, and that's why he couldn't get under it as much as he would have liked. But a single's a single.
Here's Matt Parkinson, 7-hole hitter here tonight. First pitch fastball by him. Still looking for his first home run here in the USPBL. Wouldn't be a bad day to try to get one out with this wind ripping still. The 0-1. Fastball high and away. It's been right around 90 miles an hour on each of these fastballs here tonight.
It'd be tough for a guy like Parkinson to use that wind to his advantage today. A heavy pull hitter guy.
Outfield shades him a little bit to the right now. Lawler way off the line in left. Middle of the infield giving him some space. There are 2 outs. Kevin Lambert standing on first base after notching the first base runner of this game. Now the 2-1. Fastball away, 3-1 quickly here on Matt. This only the second time that the Unicorns have seen Eddington in a game, so that can play a factor. I mean, you look at his career layout in terms of games, 3 appearances against the Beavers, including a start. And that's where you really start to see some teams lock in. You know, when these guys have been here, we talked about that mark of 5, 6, 7 starts. Not just that, but, you know, playing them consecutive times in a row. Seeing them throw as well. And granted, some guys hang around the ballpark on their off days as well. 3-1, fly ball to left, carrying Lawler back into the jet stream, still going. Wow, that one skip up against the wall. And tagged down at home is Kevin Lambert. Just from the daylight, that ball disappeared, and maybe it's because of the white Macomb Daily sign out in left center, but I thought that was gone off the bat of Parkinson. Instead, the runner tagged down at home. Maybe he thought it was gone as well. We're still scoreless here on the USPBL network.
I'm all in with HR and Organizational Development Council.
I'm all in with Marketing and Business Development Council.
I'm all in with Operations and Member Experience Council.
I'm all in with CEO Council.
I'm all in with Lending Council.
I'm all in with CFO Council.
I'm all in with Technology Council.
Our credit union is all in with CUNA Councils.
Every summer, my family loves to have a neighborhood movie night in our backyard. And with my Chevy Blazer, I can head out and get everything we need for a great night. It has plenty of room for picking up friends, and the available hands-free liftgate is perfect for loading unhandy supplies. You know, it may be movie night, but my Blazer is the main attraction wherever I go.
Lease a 2022 Blazer 2LT for just $239 a month for 24 months. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
Make your move with a quick and easy mortgage from Genesis Credit Union. We have mortgages to fit your life. Genesis Credit Union. Visit us today.
Slide into a new home. Work with a local mortgage pro who works for you. Get a cheaper, faster, easier home loan. Find a mortgage broker near you today at findamortgagebroker.com.
Riggleman back on the mound to work the bottom of the second inning. Kind of an interesting end to the top of the second there after Eddington allowed his first base runner, just a single up the middle by Kevin Lambert. Ball tagged by Parkinson, found some wind as well down the left field line. I'm not sure if Lambert had a great read on it, maybe thought it was gone. He was certainly trying to go from first to home, so on a ball like that, not the easiest to do as well, but he was gunned down fairly easily, 3-4 steps at home plate. Hard to read at first whether that ball was gone as well, as it kind of took one skip into the white signage out there in left field. As that fastball rides high on Luis Attilas. Got to turn over the card here. That's Joe Burke. Burke rips one to left center field. That one heading towards the scoreboard, and Galassi robs it away. Flying through the air for out number one here in the second.
Well, we talked about Galassi as a textbook leadoff guy from a hitter's standpoint, but he's a speedy center fielder out there. We've seen him make some nice plays time and time again. And that's just another one right there. I mean, he's saving Riggleman from giving up a double or a triple if that gets past. He had a beat on it right off the bat of Burke. Laid the body on the line in front of the wall and made a nice play.
Here's Nick Kreitzer now. Curveball that tied him up inside. And they say it hit him. Not sure Kreitzer even felt it. Dipping in there at 74. And now the first base runner for the Hoppers here in the second. And Kreitzer's just finding a way to get on base these days.
He's been really good lately, making the adjustment, much more plate discipline, working the walks a lot more. He really struggled with strikeouts earlier in the year and has cut that down significantly in the last month.
Watching the replay here on a YouTube monitor, it looked like he knew it hit him, but he's like, seriously? It was just on his back foot.
A lot of guys don't care about the OBP, the on-base percentage, especially for hit by pitches. They want to hit. Kreitzer's been hitting the ball well, too, lately.
Bryant pops this one up in the air. Lambert hovering along with Attilas. It's Lambert who sees it fade in for out number two. So this has the feel of how the top of the second inning went as well, as long as Riggleman can retire Hughes. Whit Hughes checking in at 214 in the average column. Has seen it a little bit better lately, though.
He's been working a lot with Ryan Kottke as far as a hitter standpoint goes, working on the swing, trying to be balanced. Did deal with that thumb injury for a couple weeks, too, kind of getting back into the groove now. His first week back was last weekend.
That one's going to pump its way into left. First base hit for the Hoppers here today. These hitters are probably like, this can't be a pitcher's duel for how much this wind has been blowing. It's been down, I feel like, the last 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, they have to take advantage of it, but we've seen some good stuff on the mound. These guys not making it easy. I think the shadows are playing a part of it, too. I think some guys just aren't quite picking up the ball and being able to square it up like usual.
First pitch to Lawler, in for strike one. Sean's driven in 6 this year, hitting 8th today for the Diamond Hoppers. 0-1, back to the screen at 88. First inning for Riggleman, he went 1-2-3. Back-to-back strikeouts looking to Porter and Rivera. Some sharp sliders to get him in that territory. Using the fastball a bit more here in the second. 0-2, there it is again, high. Hit by pitch and a single. That's why we have runners on first and second here with 2 outs. Great play by Drew Galassi to start this inning. Who knows what complexion we would see right now. Probably at least a run scored. Curveball away, 2-2 on Lawler now.
Two really good pitches from Riggleman ahead 0-2 in the count. Nice eye by Lawler to take those. Those are tough takes with 2 strikes.
Tipped it into the glove, kind of a fastball that kept going and going to the outside part of the plate, and that's strikeout number 3 for Riggleman here today. Strands 2, we're still scoreless.
Why are all these business owners smiling? Because they rely on Tryon to handle difficult and time-consuming HR tasks like payroll, benefits administration, and more. Working with one of the nation's top professional employer organizations provides access to top-tier healthcare and employee benefit plans and Tryon's team of attorneys and HR experts. With Tryon, you don't have to grow it alone. Visit RelyOnTryon.com.
You can always rely on Tryon.
We joined Green Path and instantly felt a support around us.
They developed a plan on paper, and this is how we're going to do it.
The plan that they gave me was something that was sustainable. It was something I could do. It was actually lowering my payments monthly by hundreds of dollars.
Choosing Green Path is a no-brainer.
Eight, 9-1, due up for the Unicorns against Derek Eddington here in the third inning. Jeremy out alongside Brendan Shabat to bring you the call here today. So glad you could tune in on a sunny and windy Thursday evening. 2 teams duking it out here today, looking for another victory in the middle part of this USPBL season. Obviously, the halfway point was the All-Star game a couple weeks ago. But certainly wins at the end of this month, certainly as you get into August, becoming a bit more important for the teams trying to chase this Unicorn squad. Roster is a bit more set at this point. I mean, there'll be some changes here or there. Here's a Tillis. Looks at a fastball high. Well, an interesting end to the top half of the second when the Unicorns were at the plate. They got on a 2-out single after Eddington recorded the first 2 outs, strikeout, fly out. 1-0, popped foul. Then the single, and the ball that was hit off the wall down the left field line by Parkinson, cut off by Lawler, quickly got it into Rivera, who easily was able to cut down Lambert at the plate, and that's how it ended. Might be just that kind of day here today for these hitters for whatever reason. 1-1, slider fading away. He did go as they checked down at first base, 1-2. Kind of felt the same way, though, in the bottom of the second as well. Hit by pitch, single, first and second. 2 outs, but then the strikeout to Lawler. Good job by Riggleman to get out of it. Righty and righty, the 1-2, line to left. Lawler right in his tracks for the first out.
Yeah, I think we're just seeing the effects of first time through the order against these pitchers. 2 guys who, kind of like we mentioned, neither teams have seen a bunch. Now for Eddington, this is second or third time the Unicorns have seen him, just the second, but I think we might see an adjustment here as we get to the middle innings with these hitters. And maybe when these shadows go away, too, it'll be a little bit easier. Right now, it's really tough. That ball is going to change whether it's in a shadow or not 3 times on its way to the plate.
Here's the 1-0. Fastball high, 2-0. You kind of see the perforation there. It's the light tower and the overhang separating the grandstands from the road, basically.
Yeah, and once the sun goes down even more, the big shadow from the overhang will move away, but the beams will still be there. And though it's a tiny sliver, it does look pretty big to the hitter.
Line drive to left. That's going to eat up Lawler all the way back. Leaps. He can't make that catch. Hodo speeding his way to second base. He'll get there standing up.
Boy, any other base runner, that's probably a really close play at second base. Hodo is, in my opinion, in the top 3 fastest guys in the league, and I think that's a great job by Lawler in left. I like the effort going out for the ball at the wall, and he did a fantastic job getting it quickly after missing the original catch and getting it into second. Anybody else, that's a close play at second base.
Boy, just looking at that replay, that ball does not get anywhere near there on another day. Kind of a jam job, just fighting it off on the inside, putting a bat on it, but that's all you got to do right now. And 2 pitchers with decent velocity, averaging around 90. Put the bat on the ball and see where it goes. First pitch strike to Drew Galassi. He's made his fair share of plays in the outfield, but one of his best this year earlier to save what could have been a leadoff base runner. Juggling catch in the left center field gap. It's a spread out outfield and pretty much a spread out infield. Looking for that double play potential here with 1 out. Or sorry, the runner on second base here. As Galassi K's through that one. His second strikeout tonight for Eddington.
Exactly what you want to do if you're Eddington. Follow up that double with a strikeout to one of the best hitters in the lineup in the top of the order. You don't want to leave that runner in scoring position in this inning if you're the Unicorns.
First pitch to Bolin. Curveball in for strike 1.
That's the advantage of having a guy like Hodo hitting in the 9 spot, a veteran of the USPBL, hitting above 300 this year. He gets on base with some speed, and you got the top of the order up next. Presents a pretty big challenge for these opposing pitchers.
It's kind of thrown the splitter away here in this 3rd inning. We saw it a decent amount in the 1st and 2nd. Wasn't able to control it as much as he would have liked. See what we see here on an 0-2 with 2 outs. There it is. Low. Blocked by Hughes. A little bit slower than a changeup. The average changeup, I'd say, here in the USPBL. Now the 1-2. Fastball outside. We've heard a lot of guys have splitters, at least this year. Some are still here, some are not, but splitters instead of change-ups. Just couldn't get that change-up grip down.
A little bit easier for a lot of those guys with much bigger hands. Harder to get that change-up grip.
Now the 2-2. Fly ball to right. Schellenbarger going back. Everything's an adventure here today for the 3rd out. Good job by Eddington to strand the 1-out double here in the 3rd inning. That's your 5th third out of the game. Brought to you by Fifth Third Bank once again here today. Time for JJ the Water Boy as well. Presented by Michigan First Credit Union. JJ may be getting some water himself before bringing out this water.
I sure hope so.
It's a little bit of a slower trot as well.
It's a hot day out there. Everybody's working extra hard today to stay nice and cool.
Chelsea Cooper down there with your DTE Energy Kid Race the mascot. Ribby will go on the mascot side of things. Austin will race against Ribby. Who you got?
I got Austin.
You sure?
Yeah. History lends itself against the mascots.
Austin with a good start out of the gate here. Already around second base, and Ribby trailing well behind. Austin representing Upton Elementary there, making everyone at Upton proud as he crashes towards home plate. Your DTE Energy Kid Race the mascot goes to the kid once again.
I'm not one to shy away from tooting my own horn as far as predictions go, but in the Kid Race the mascot, that one's pretty self-explanatory. The kids are undefeated historically. And Ribby too. I mean, if you're going to pick a mascot to make an upset, I don't think Ribby is the odds-on favorite. He's lost his head before. He's had some trouble out there on the base paths.
Here's Riggleman back out there for the third inning. He'll face 9-1-2 in this Hoppers lineup. It'll be Paws, Pup, and Porter. Good job thus far. Nice play, as we talked about, by Drew Galassi to begin the second to rob a hit. He retired the first 4 he faced because of that, then hit Kreitzer. Got Schellenbarger to pop out and allowed a single to Whit Hughes, but then struck out Lawler. 29 pitches through 2 innings of work. Both of these guys in good shape in terms of their pitch counts. First pitch to Walker Paws is down low. They shade him to the right. Bolden and left, way off the line in the gap. This one hit that direction. Galassi edging back. Much more routine play this time to start the third.
Going to be a bit of a relief when you see that ball nice and high. You know you've got time to get under it. But still, that deep in center on a day like today, always a little scared, a little conscious of the wind.
Alex Pup flew out to right his first time. That's after he was ahead in the count 2-1. Start the at-bats for the Hoppers as he looks at a ball low. Well, you said the wind would go away by now. What were you saying?
I was wrong today. We've seen it in the past 2 or 3 weeks. Been annoyingly windy in batting practice, and then by the time the game rolls around, we haven't had the assistance of the wind for our offense.
One fastball away. Ryan Kottke and Ari Sikopoulos were kind of joking in batting practice today. You know, Ari, I think it was just his first swing, so guys often try to go the opposite way or just straight up the gut. But he's like, is that what you're going to do today? Well, we'll have some success. He's like, well, you better hope the wind dies down by the time Ari said that to Ryan by the time the game starts.
Yeah, Ari is a very smart hitter. He pays attention to everything. He's very conscious of his surroundings, and the wind is no different. He's played the wind many times so far this year. And to his credit, it's worked out.
3-2 here on Pup. And when it blows out, it mostly blows to right center. So we saw a few balls into the soundstage, one into the trees and woods as well. Now the 3-2. Off to the bat. Swing and a miss. Fastball tailing away. Whipped at it That's already strikeout number 4 through 2 2/3 here for Riggleman.
Riggleman, not a guy who is going to wow you necessarily with his velocity or his spin rate, but he has located his pitches very nicely today. I think Matt Parkinson and him are having a really good connection right now, calling for pitches as well.
Porter looks at a strike. He had a nice 3-2 battle. The only count that Riggleman has taken to 3 balls, let alone 3-2. Curveball away. Definitely been a bit more fastball heavy than what we've seen at the beginning of the year. He's only about 50% fastball, 30-some% breaking ball in total between the curveball and the slider. Now the 1-2. Line drive over the head of Sakopoulos for a base hit. Porter hot out of the box there. Looked like he might want to challenge it if Castro didn't come up with it right away, but he did. So another 2-out base runner here in the 3rd.
Yeah, I think Porter's got the speed to get to second in this next at bat here, snagging the bag. Who knows, maybe he wanted to get that slugging percentage up a couple points with a double instead of a single. But the first, I think, hard hit ball we've seen today, 90+ off the bat of Blake Porter. Both pitchers have been really good. There's been some contact, but none of it quite as hard as that one.
Curveball hit him. Second time that we've seen a breaking ball drill a batter. Kreitzer also was hit by one on the back foot. So here's Joe Burke now. He lined out into the glove of Drew Galassi. Hit it hard and into the wind. These rallies just haven't gone anywhere thus far in this game. We'll see if that changes here in the 3rd. Second time we've seen 2 runners on for either of these 2 teams, and both times it's been the Hoppers. Defense playing him fairly straight up. Hodo in tight to the bag at second. Now he'll back up as Porter gets a healthy lead. Joe Burke looks at a curveball for strike 1.
This is what Ryan Kotke and John Dombrowski have stressed to their team, this exact situation at the plate. They don't want to leave runners on, and they need 2-out hitting. Sometimes you just have to be clutch.
Slider in for strike 2.
There's a pretty good guy up at the plate for a position like this, but Burke has had his share of struggles lately. Trying to turn it around. He has a good opportunity here. Had a decently well-hit ball to the gap his first time up.
0-2, slider away. That's something that he's talked about in the past, how many breaking balls he sees. 3 pitches, 3 breaking balls thus far here in the 3rd.
Really good eye on that last pitch from Burke. That slider stayed in the zone for a while.
Fastball high as he popped it up. It's like, oh yes, this is a fastball, but it's high.
It's a good fight, though. He's got the right idea. He's been so good in these positions before. His success rate advancing runners is just below 50%. That's exactly what the Hoppers need right now. Somebody's got to break this game open at some point. Burke's a good candidate for it.
The 1-2 again. Slider looping on the ground. Attilis has to charge, do or die, as he gets it over to first. A nice play to end the bottom of the 3rd inning. 2 more runners on. Nothing becomes of it. Brendan Shabath has play-by-play when we get back on the USPBL Network.
There are many things you can rely on in this world, like a sunny day brightening your mood, your mom baking the world's best apple pie, and never a dull moment in running your business. And when it comes to time-consuming HR tasks, you can rely on Tryon. Tryon can handle payroll and taxes, employee benefits, and more, so you can stay focused on attracting and retaining the best talent. With Tryon, you don't have to grow it alone. Visit RelyOnTryon.com.
You can always rely on Tryon.
We joined Green Path and instantly felt a support around us.
They developed a plan on paper, and this is how we're going to do it.
The plan that they gave me was something that was sustainable. It was something I could do. It was actually lowering my payments monthly by hundreds of dollars.
Choosing Green Path is a no-brainer.
Great seats at a great price. Get them safer, simpler, and smarter with Ticket Smarter. A proud partner to the biggest names in live sports and events, including ESPN events and iHeartRadio. Ticket Smarter has seats for over 125,000 live events and 48 million tickets for sale. All backed with the Ticket Smarter 100% ticket guarantee. Thinking about your next great live event? Think smarter. Think Ticket Smarter. Get your tickets your way, guaranteed at Ticketsmarter.com.
Still scoreless from Jimmy John's Field as we start this fourth inning. Nothing between the Hoppers and the Unicorns. Both starting pitchers have been really good right now. Just 5 hits total through 3 complete innings, 3 to the Unicorns. 2 of them belong to the Hoppers. Both pitchers have done a nice job stranding runners. Eddington, after a 1-out double from John Hodo last inning, stranded him in scoring position on second base. Riggleman, just last inning before the break, stranded 2 on with 2 out. First pitch to Leandy Castro, 3-4-5 hitters due up here in the top of the 4th. Misses for ball 1. We've seen Eddington today use the curveball and splitter more than the percentages would dictate in the past. That's a fastball through for a single through the infield just past the outstretched glove of Paws, and a leadoff runner for Castro. The Unicorns have done a really good job in innings this year as far as run scoring when getting the leadoff guy on. Castro's a guy who could use a hit too. Started off the year with really good numbers, now just above 200 with the batting average. Brings a dangerous hitter to the plate, Ari Sakopoulos. Already faced Eddington once, struck out on 4 pitches. First pitch swinging below the zone, and Sakopoulos chases. Eddington worked exclusively below the zone in the first at-bat to Ari. Eight home runs, 17 RBIs for the lefty in purple. The 0-1 on the ground to second, and it takes a bad bounce and squirts under the glove of Paws all the way into right field. And Castro goes first to third on the ground ball single for Ari Sakopoulos.
It might have been a tough ball to turn 2 on just because it was bounding in the first place without the bad hop right at the end, but regardless, a bad bounce for the Hoppers to begin this 4th.
Sometimes that's what it's all about. The Unicorns have done a nice job all year taking advantage of the opportunities they're given and the mistakes their opponents make. Not necessarily a mistake by Paws there, but just an unfortunate bounce. Now here's Childress, runners on the corners. Trouble for Eddington. This one's on the ground to third. Rivera will flip to second for 1. Throw to first is in time. A double play, but a run scores. The first of the ball game belongs to the Unicorns. So Childress gets another RBI. That's his 12th of the year as he grounds into the 5-4-3 double play. Brings up Kevin Lambert. 1 for 1 today. First pitch swinging, splitter misses. Lambert is the one that misses, 0-1.
Pretty good looking splitter there. We talked about kind of in the last inning how he went away from it from a majority of the third, then brought it out late. And that last hitter, Malik Bolin.
That fastball is up and away.
Velo today for Eddington has kind of been more true to form. Ruggelman's fastball has been a little bit down to his standards, but
Curveball can't find the zone. Lambert's in a good hitter's count, 2-1. 21 games played for him this year. We've talked about his bat heating up recently. Four of his league home runs have come in the last 10 games. Swing and a miss evens the count at 2 apiece.
No action in the Hoppers' pen at this point. Not a surprise. Already, like we said, their second game this week. So not a lot of urgency to get Eddington out of here quickly.
The 2-2. Full count.
We've seen some pretty good eyes here today on close pitches.
Which is a surprise, like we've talked about with the shadows. Always difficult to pick up that ball.
The low pitch has not been the hitter's friend thus far, though, in terms of strike calls.
Payoff pitch to Lambert. Kind of swings at a little low one, and a blooper is caught by Alex Pup for out number 3. A nice job by Eddington. Despite giving up a run, it's just 1 for the Unicorns. That's where they lead it as we head to the home half of the 4th.
Why are all these business owners smiling? Because they rely on Tryon to handle difficult and time-consuming HR tasks like payroll, benefits administration, and more. Working with one of the nation's top professional employer organizations provides access to top-tier healthcare and employee benefit plans and Tryon's team of attorneys and HR experts. With Tryon, you don't have to grow it alone. Visit RelyOnTryon.com.
You can always rely on Tryon.
Throughout your life, from big moments to ones well-earned, we're your financial guardian angel. Alliance Catholic Credit Union.
The Hoppers in the home half of the 4th now trailing by a run. It'll be Kreitzer, Schellenbarger, and Hughes. 5, 6, and 7 hitters due up against Adam Riggleman, who goes out for his 4th inning. No surprise there. Only 2 hits given up so far. 4 base runners, though. The other 2 have been hit by pitches. Kreitzer was one of those his first time. He skies this one on the first pitch. Attilas slides over into very shallow left field. 1 up, 1 down. Riggleman with 4 Ks right now. Still a lot of contact. No surprise there. We've seen him be a primarily pitch-to-contact guy this year, but it's all been soft today. First pitch, Schellenbarger way on top of it, 0-1.
He's looked very confident in working out of those jams thus far today as well.
Bounces in the dirt to even up the count.
One he had in the second, immediately able to strike out Lawler, the next batter, and then the same after the first 2 in the inning, got on in the 3rd. Not the first 2, but the first 2 that reached in the inning. He retired the first couple of the inning in general, but got a ground out off the bat of Burke.
Strike 2 in there on Schellenbarger. He's had a pretty good start to his professional career. Hitting .280 in his first 14 games right now. A couple extra base hits as he fights that one off foul, a home run. Nearing double-digit RBIs.
He's kind of been in this 6-hole, and I think that's probably a comfort thing. Not trying to change anything that has been going right for him.
1-2 fly ball, right field. Castro going back, looking up, and it's gone. Schellenbarger ties it 1-1 with the solo shot.
And that ball right there, where it's hit, how it's hit, no matter the wind, that's kind of his sweet spot when he's going right.
His second professional home run in almost the exact same spot as his first one. This one probably 20 or 25 feet further than that first one that snuck over the wall. Now does have double-digit RBIs, bringing home himself and tying this ball game. First pitch to Whit Hughes is a strike. So is the second one on a swing and a miss.
I've already seen this once. Will he go back to a third straight breaking ball here? We saw it in the third.
0-2 is a breaking ball. Hughes fights it off. Nice catch by a fan. Gets an applause from the crowd. The 0-2 again, swing and a miss. 87 on the fastball. Hughes out at first on the drop third strike. 2 down. Riggleman follows up the home run that he gives up to Schellenbarger with his 5th strikeout.
Not exactly what you like to see. Brought the good stuff on the breaking balls as well, so nothing really wavered.
4 pitches as well, kind of maintained that confidence.
Yep. But here's exactly where you want to finish it off, the 8-9 hitters. You want to see it turn back to the top, especially in a tie game.
When those bats get hot in an inning, the top of the order can mean danger for any pitcher, let alone a starter, nearing the end of this start. Most guys in the league this year, 4, 5, and 6 innings have been the limit. We've only seen a few pitchers go into the 7 and 8 innings. Lawler hits this one on the ground. High chop for Hodo, and that will be out number 3. So both starters give up a run in the 4th and both respond well. We'll restart in the 5th. 1-1 Hoppers Unicorns in the USPBL Network.
As your neighbor who works at Ascension, Michigan, and a cardiologist who's practiced for more than 20 years, I'm going to keep asking, how are you feeling today? Your care can't wait. Getting care sooner can mean catching things before they get worse. At Ascension, Michigan, our ERs and our hospitals and other sites of care are maintaining strict precautions for your safety. Studies have shown that people will get care sooner if they're encouraged by their doctors, family, and friends. Get the care you need at getascensionmichigancare.com.
Great seats at a great price. Get them safer, simpler, and smarter with Ticket Smarter. A proud partner to the biggest names in live sports and events, including ESPN events and iHeartRadio. Ticket Smarter has seats for over 125,000 live events and 48 million tickets for sale. All backed with the Ticket Smarter 100% ticket guarantee. Thinking about your next great live event? Think smarter. Think Ticket Smarter. Get your tickets your way, guaranteed, at Ticketsmarter.com.
So we start over here in the 5th. 1-1. Each team gets a run in the 4th. The Hoppers, by virtue of a long ball from Bryant Schellenbarger, will see if the 4th inning for either lineup sparks some more offense. We've seen some really good pitching on both sides. a misstep from both Eddington and Riggleman in the fourth. We'll see where it leads us here in the fifth. For the Unicorns to start, it'll be Parkinson, Attilis, and Hodo. 2 for 3 combined are those three hitters in the 7, 8, 9 holes through their first time through the order.
It'll be interesting to see what the Hoppers do with the bullpen once they do get to that point. I think next inning is when you see somebody at least warming up. Whether they come in or not is another story. It looks like there's actually some action going on in the Unicorns pen as well. Like we talked about before, they have a little bit more leeway in terms of the amount of guys they can use. They could certainly go 1-1, 1-1 if they wanted to all the way to the end, but we'll see.
First pitch to Parkinson, it nicked him. Third hit batter today. That's the first for Eddington against the Unicorns. Leadoff runner. Yeah, but back to your point, Jeremy. The Hoppers have been busy this past week. Had the doubleheader on Saturday, a couple non-publics before today's game. They don't have the same bullpen luxury just for guys that have thrown in overall sheer number of arms as the Unicorns.
And the only guy unavailable, at least before the game for Brugge, and that makes a lot of sense because he's your starter slated for tomorrow. And they are one pitcher down overall, one starter to this point.
1-0 to Attilis on the black for strike one. Attilis, a guy who's really been heating up. 9 hits in his last 10 games. At one point this season, had a pretty consistent batting average right around the Mendoza line, now up to 264. 0 for 1 today. He flew out fairly deep to left his first time up. Jeremy, you and I were down there for batting practice, and he had a funky-looking bat. I believe it's called the Capwood bat that changes the weight distribution. And this one's back up the middle. Another single for Luis Attilis. His bat stays hot.
Yeah, that bat is something that he would use all throughout his college career in the last 4 years just to get him ready in batting practice. Kind of went away from it when he got to pro ball, but he's like, gosh, why am I not hitting well? I got to get back to my old routine. He's kind of done that, and since he's been hitting very well.
Well, he was a great hitter in college, and that was the interesting thing to me. He said in our conversation with him when he got here, he bought into the development league status of the USPBL, and that all these coaches are trying to make him a better player and get him out of here. But in doing that, he got away from his usual routine, like you said, and got back to using that bat in batting practice, staying connected, and he's really started to hit the ball a lot better. I think it's a positive sign to see from a guy like Attilis, who struggled when he first got here. I think it could be pretty easy for some guys to struggle and say, hey, what's going on here? These guys aren't helping me. These coaches aren't making me any better, but they really are. And he just got back to his routine and starting to hit. Another guy who's hitting and has hit today, John Hodo's first at-bat was a double. He was stranded there last inning. Now steps up, faces a 3-0 count with 2 runners on and nobody out.
And Attilis isn't a guy who was here at the very beginning of the year. I'd say he kind of falls into that category of the second wave of players that came in shortly after the start of the season. But for his average to jump like that significantly at this point is a pretty big deal, like you said.
Hodo does take all the way on the 3-0 strike one. Yeah, there's still not a ton of at-bats overall where you get 5-6 hits in a weekend. Your average is going to go up a significant amount. 3-2, Hodo swinging, lines this one to center. Porter ranges over and makes the grab. Everyone stays. Not soft enough contact for runners to tag and not hard enough for a base hit.
Yeah, didn't get as lucky, if you want to call it that, as his first at-bat. Kind of rose in the wind on a line to left. That one hanging up there right to Porter. But that's a big out, considering you're turning it back to the top of the order, and Drew Galassi is 0 for 2 here today. But regardless, you don't want to set yourself up bases loaded or a run already in. It would have already been a tight run premium game.
I think the last thing you would want to do is load the bases or have 2 on and nobody out for this guy. Like you said, Galassi is 0 for 2 today. Falls behind 0-1 in the count here. Fights off that inside pitch. Foul.
See how these guys respond to the third time seeing Eddington through the order. Both Galassi and Bolin haven't had much luck thus far.
Galassi behind 0-2 again. Hits this one deep out to right. Schellenbarger on the warning track. Jumping, but it's gone. Galassi with his 4th of the year gives the Unicorns a lead, a 3-run bomb here in the 5th.
Well, just watching Schellenbarger react to that ball, you can tell how much havoc the wind is playing, kind of twisting, maybe not even expecting it to go as far as it did. Then the last-ditch effort with the jump at the wall to keep it in play. But we talked about it. That's all you need to do, some decent velocity on the mound with both of these guys. Flip the bat at the ball. Galassi more often than not takes a good swing at it anyway. Good things can happen. Home run number 4, long time coming for Drew.
Now the first pitch to Malik Bolin misses for ball 1. Galassi in an 0-2 count. Swings on a curveball that probably held up a little bit more than Derek Eddington would have wanted 0-2. It's something we talked about in the earlier innings, Jeremy. He kind of was cutting it close, playing with the bottom of the zone while still being ahead in the count. Guys like Ari Sakopoulos saw some closer pitches, usually 0-2. Sometimes you really want to get lucky and see if you can maybe get a guy to chase. Eddington does the same there. Bullock lays off 2-1. And now trailing 4-1, the Hoppers are warming up Carson Ferry in the pen. Bolin swings and misses. Nice splitter from Eddington there. Bolin was way out in front of it.
And one of the tougher splitters we've seen here today, in on the hands.
This one's back up the middle. Sharp single on the ground for Malik Bolin. Makes him 1 for 3 on the day. So a really good 3 complete for Derek Eddington. Only 3 total hits. Stranded a couple runners. But since then, 4 runs have come across the plate in the last 2 innings for the Unicorns, and we're not done here. 1 on and 1 out in the 5th. Inside on that curveball to Castro. Castro was that first runner to come across on the double play from Childress last inning. Reached on a single. This one's in the gap to left. Porter ranging over, so is Lawler, and he makes the grab on the run. A nice play from Sean Lawler on a nearly perfectly placed ball from Castro, but it's out number 2.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I thought off the bat that was going to be at least, in between them for a base hit, maybe a double if it reached all the way to the wall. But the only way that Lawler makes that play if he has a good jump, and he hit a great one from left to left center.
It'd be a nice one to see what they have at the major league level, the StatCast route efficiency, percentage catch chance on that one. I would say just the eye test, a hard hit ball by Castro. Again, we haven't seen too many, but like we talked about pregame and in the early stages of this game, second and third times through the orders, hitters getting used to these pitchers. This is Sakopoulos' third at bat, a strikeout and a single last inning. 1-0, looks at the curveball in for a strike.
How about the 7th batter in this inning as well? It doesn't sound like that big a deal, but for this game it is. It just hasn't opened up to that level. There's Ferry warming.
Hard hit. Fair ball down the first base line for Ari Sakopoulos. This one's all the way into the corner. Schellenbarger still trying to get it. Bolin trying to go first to home. He will score. And the Unicorns tack on an RBI double for Mr. Sakopoulos.
Some good running there by Bolin. He was chucking around the base pass the whole way. Adrian Guzman, as soon as he saw that one kind of dig into the corner, that's one of the tougher spots in the ballpark for an outfielder to play it. He was halfway down the line at third, wheeling him home. And what an inning it is for the Unicorns.
So another RBI for Ari. Now we'll have a meeting on the mound. Don't think Ryan Kotke pulls Eddington with just one out here in the fifth, but like Jeremy mentioned, Childress will be the 8th hitter sent to the plate in this Unicorns lineup.
I think if Ferrier was warming at the beginning of this inning, he might have pulled him in this scenario here, but Ferrier was stretching.
He's just starting to throw over there.
Stretching maybe a batter in, and they check on him, but I don't think he's ready to go.
Mike Rice, the assistant coach for the Hoppers, is over there trying to make the communications. Maybe Ryan Kotke buying a little bit of time for Ferry. See what Eddington can do here against Childress. Childress 0 for 2 today. Does have an RBI, the first run for the Unicorns on that double play.
That's the most amount of time you'll see in a long time. Buying time. That's allowed by your home plate umpire, but
yeah, I feel like most this year have been pretty good about getting on managers, not letting that happen too much. It's relatively obvious what the intent is when they are trying to buy time. First pitch to Childress is popped up and out of play. It's now 5-1 Unicorns. All 5 runs have come in the last 2 innings, 4 of them here in the top of the 5th. 0-1 popped up again to Childress, racing over is Burke, and Hughes sliding, not going to get there. That would have been huge for the Diamond Hoppers to get out of this inning, and that ball just out of the reach of both Burke and Hughes.
Yeah, kind of in no man's land down there in the divot where the beginning of the dugout and the end of those diamond tables meet. Lots and lots of foul ground to cover here as a defender.
I think in that situation, trying to get out of the inning, 4 runs come across already. It's hard to come back to the mound and look at that pitch as a strike. 0-2 now on Childress. Feel a little defeating, and Eddington gets the swing and a miss to get out of the inning. Might be his last. 4 come across for the Unicorns. They lead it 5-1. The Hoppers see what they can do in the bottom of the 5th for a response when we come back.
Dunham Sports is a proud partner of the USPBL. Big names, low prices, delivering value since 1937.
At Fifth Third Bank, we're working hard to make banking a Fifth Third better, which means we put 166.7% into everything we do.
I think you can only give 110%.
Well, with free checking, fraud protection services, and an automatic savings tool to help you quickly reach your goals, 166.7% is possible.
Oh, wait till my 8th graders hear about this. They're going to be like, it's not possible. Well, yes it is.
This is banking, a Fifth Third better.
Well, the Hoppers gave up a run in the top of the 4th, and Bryant Schellenbarger responded to tie the game at 1 with a solo shot. They give up 4 in the 5th. We'll see what they can do here with their turn to bat. 9-1-2 hitters Pause, Pup, and Porter, the 3 Ps in the lineup. Pause 0 for 1 with a fly out to center his first time up in the third inning. Adam Riggleman stays out there. Despite the solo shot, has only given up 3 total hits. Riggleman will face, at the minimum, 2 lefties in the 5th. Pause, and then Porter in the 2-hole. Pause looks at a called strike 1. A 1 fastball missed. One is in the dirt again with the fastball. 2-1 for Riggleman. One thing we've talked about as a theme this year for the Hoppers is their ability to respond after giving up some runs. They've done it a fair amount, so is this Unicorns lineup. It's led to some good back-and-forth battles between these two, and Walker Pause starts it off with a leadoff line single to left.
A nice seeing eye single there. No way for Tillis to catch up with it. And turning back to the top of the lineup. Top of the lineup for both of these two teams. Not really doing much until the last half, really. Kolossi with a big 3-run home run. Bolin kind of continuing what we saw as well. See what stands for the Hoppers. It feels like a big deficit just because this game has been so close, but right part of the lineup coming up here.
I think it wouldn't feel as big, too, if the runs weren't as bunched together.
Right.
1 in the 4th, 4 in the 5th. As perhaps they won each inning for the Unicorns. The good news for Ryan Kotke, he's got his best hitters coming up and perhaps his best base stealer over on first in Walker Pause. 6 for 6 on the year. He doesn't get on base a whole lot, has struggled with that .342 percentage, only batting .107. But when he does, he will get around the base paths. Riggleman knows it, looks over, Pause is back in safely. That oven mitt, whether you've got numbers to support it or not, always an indication of someone who wants to snag a base. 1-0 on Pup. Pause with a good lead, and there he goes. Throw down to second from Parkinson. That's a nice throw. It's a close play. He got him. Pause, the first time this year, is caught stealing. Matt Parkinson, perhaps one of the best defensive catchers in the league, throws out another runner and negates the leadoff single for Walker Pause and this Hoppers team trying to fight back from a 4-run deficit.
A nice high pitch to throw on there for Parkinson. Exchange between the glove and the hand was quick. Dart down to second base, run in the bag. Couldn't draw it up much better for the defense right there. For the offense, that's frustrating after what you did to start this 5th.
That high pitch was ball 2 to Pup, and a foul ball makes it 2-1 right now. Porter waits on deck. Behind him, Rivera. Pounded into the ground, foul. Pup has led off all season long for the Hoppers. 1 home run and 7 RBIs as the leadoff man. 2-2. Misses outside, full count. Has struggled hitting the ball particularly hard, maybe beyond some expectations for a leadoff guy. But he's gotten on base a decent amount. Full count, 3-2. Strike 3, got him. Pup is caught looking, goes down. Strikeout number 6 for Riggleman.
Was not at all a fan of that call, and he lets your home plate umpire, Gary Wagenschutz, know about it right from the bat, although he does walk directly to the dugout. But how about this inning for Riggleman? You couldn't draw it up any better after the sharp leadoff single, caught stealing, then punching out Pump on a 3-2. Now all of a sudden you could face the minimum here if you're able to retire Porter.
Porter checks his swing on the first pitch. It's a called strike anyways. He doesn't like it. And we saw it in the first inning, that low strike, is going to be a strike today. Curveball hung up. Porter, bad swing on it, though. And so Riggleman, despite the leadoff single, faces the minimum. Paused the single, caught stealing, strikeout, pop out. Still 5-1 Unicorns. Jeremy Otto takes the reins in the 6th when we return.
You dreamed of starting a company, not an HR department, but your business has grown fast, and so have the complexities of payroll and taxes, benefits administration, and other HR functions. That's why your business needs a professional employer organization like Tryon Solutions. Tryon provides businesses of all sizes access to top-tier healthcare and employee benefit plans. With Tryon, you don't have to grow it alone. Visit RelyOnTryon.com.
You can always rely on Tryon.
What makes Detroit Mercy so unique is the fact that it's in the middle of Detroit, and especially with their service learning programs, you really get a chance to be a part of the community.
Detroit Mercy. Build a boundless future.
Well, when it's time for baseball, it's time for beer. Two Hearted Ale has been named the #1 beer in America for the past 4 years by members of the American Homebrewers Association. Play ball with the best. Two Hearted Ale, the iconic American IPA from Bell's Brewery, Comstock, Michigan. Please drink responsibly. Carson Ferry takes over on the mound after a 8-batter, 4-run 5th inning for the Unicorns offense. Derek Eddington is done, and Carson Ferry really trying to turn his fortunes around a bit. Boy, did he start hot. Probably the hardest pitcher in the USPBL, or one of them, at least to begin the year. Has ran into some struggles. The stuff has always been there. Fastball that tops out at 94 miles an hour. Good curveball. Uses his other 2 pitches sparingly, the changeup and the slider. This will be his 11th appearance here today. Number 6 out of the bullpen. He's kind of going back and forth on that. 27 walks to 35 strikeouts. So the 35 Ks are solid. That works out to about 11 per 9. Would like to get those walks down, which is something he did really effectively to begin the year. Bringing him out of the bullpen here as the first man out. Maybe just trying to change the fortunes a bit, as he will face 6, 7, 8 in the lineup for the Unicorns. Lambert, Parkinson, Attilis. Lambert today with a single back in the 2nd, popped out in the 4th as well. It's 5 runs off 9 hits and no errors for the Unicorns thus far. 1 run off 4 hits and no errors for the Diamond Hoppers. Lambert the only man not to bat in that illustrious 5th. As the fastball pumped in at 90 for strike 1. So Ferry the first used out of the bullpen. We've already seen a little bit of action out of the Unicorns pen. It continues to warm. Riggleman getting some big outs in the last half. Great job to limit the leadoff single. Caught stealing at 2nd. Strikeout to Pup. Pop out to Porter against this Hoppers team. 1-1 fastball swung on and missed. Infield back, outfield fairly back with that wind blowing straight out to right center here. The 1-2 from the lefty in there for strike 3. Exactly how we wanted to start it here in the 6th.
It's a good start for Ferry, who could use a confidence boost. Has struggled his last few times out uncharacteristically. He was lights out at the start of the year. We didn't think he'd be around very long. Still a candidate to be signed by a major league organization sometime soon.
His last appearance was a start. Just went an inning and 2/3. Giving up 7 runs, 6 of them earned. Big part of that was the 5 walks. That was in the doubleheader last Saturday. Another doubleheader on tap this week as well. Curveball high, 1-1. So these Diamond Hoppers will play back-to-back with the game tomorrow. So they play Tuesday, today, tomorrow. Tuesday, the non-public. It'll be against the Mammoths tomorrow, who won a big one versus the Beavers last night. And then the Beavers Unicorns in the doubleheader on Saturday. It's a Beavers team that certainly figured it out as the season is going on. 1-2, couldn't check his swing. Back-to-back strikeouts for Carson Ferry here in the 6th.
Very positive sign for Ferry. The pitches look good. The mixing looks good. Always nice to see a guy kind of recover, like we talked about, after struggling through a few. I think as far as Eddington goes, the starter for the Hoppers, you have to look at the positives despite the 5 runs. No walks and 3 strikeouts, and still did get through 5 innings and 3 really good ones.
First pitch fastball in the hands of Attilas Thayer.
It's really tough to face these Unicorns hitters 2 and 3 times and not give up some contact, some good hits, and some base runners. Very few pitchers have been able to do it this year.
The 0-1. Curveball in for strike 2. It's been a consistent 77 on each of these curveballs here tonight. He has more of the tighter curve that looks a little bit more like a slider at times with the velo as well. Trying to strike out the side. Can he do it? The 0-2. Line drive up the box. He cannot. Attilas keeps it rolling. His second single here today.
And that one just a little flare for Attilas, fighting off behind an 0-2 count. Saw the curveball, the pitch before, recognized it out of the hand again. Was able to jump on it a little bit for a single, but I think the good thing for Ferry is that curveball looks much more consistent and tighter than it has in the past. When he was struggling, the timing was way off on it. He was firing it over the catcher's head or well in the dirt, and you could just see he was really struggling figuring it out. But he's worked on the mechanics. He's worked with the pitching people here in the league, and through 3 batters, it looks a lot better.
It's now 8 hits in the last 4 for Attilas. Now the 1-0 to Hodo. Fastball high, 2-0 on John now. I think our guy Dan Mueller, who sits to our left each and every game, put together some awesome reports over the last couple weeks. 2-0, back to the screen, even more in depth in terms of the analytics and stats that we can turn around and look at these players at a much deeper level.
They're fantastic. It's been a struggle for me not to read off every one of these advanced stats and go into a conversation about them and what they mean for these hitters and pitchers.
2-1 fastball in for strike 2. I believe is best on the velo side so far tonight.
It's always a fun thing in baseball, though. Obviously, every sport has its advanced metrics, but none quite to the level that baseball and the depth that it can have. So much fun to look at.
Swung through it, and Carson Ferry strikes out the side here in the 7th. Lambert, Parkinson, Hodo go down. The only damage done, the single, with 2 outs here in the 6th.
Every summer, my family loves to have a neighborhood movie night in our backyard. And with my Chevy Blazer, I can head out and get everything we need for a great night. It has plenty of room for picking up friends, and the available hands-free liftgate is perfect for loading unhandy supplies. You know, it may be movie night, but my Blazer is the main attraction wherever I go.
Lease a 2022 Blazer 2LT for just $239 a month for 24 months. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
Check your checking. If your account doesn't get you pumped, amped, or geeked, make the switch to Genius Checking from Genesis Credit Union. It's just genius.
Jeremy and Brendan back with you here. Jimmy John's Field in downtown Utica, Michigan. So glad you could tune in as a part of your Thursday. Plenty of people letting us know where they're watching from. We've got some South Dakota, Arkansas, Indiana. Representation here tonight, New York as well. Here's Calapietro on the mound now for the Unicorns. Their first pitching change. Coming in for Riggleman, who went 5, struck out 6, and gave up just 1 run on the solo shot in the 4th to Bryant Schellenbarger.
Yeah, really good outing for Riggleman. Only 4 hits as well. Sometimes you just give up a mistake pitch and a guy pounces on it. No walks, 2 to the 6 strikeouts is always a really good thing. That's going to help his ratio, which was already great, even more.
So for Austin, 4-seam fastball, which is heavy in his arsenal thus far. Changeup through 3 appearances, 2 walks to 5 Ks, all out of the bullpen. First pitch fastball away to Rivera. It's 3-4-5. Rivera, Burke, Kreitzer. Here in the bottom of the 6th. 6th inning brought to you by Jimmy John's here today. Now the 1-0. Sawed him off. That one will pump into left for a base hit.
Kind of just one of those seeing eye singles, a little bit of a blooper for Rivera. Like we've said a few times this year, get it any way you can. Just get on base by any means. That's what the Hoppers need right now. They need base runners.
They thought they had the gateway to what could have been a good 5th inning. Their leadoff man was the 9-hole hitter. Paws got on with a sharp single. Immediately looking to steal second base, but was cut down on a beautiful catch and throw by Parkinson. Good tag in the middle of the infield as well. And then, all of a sudden, strikeout to Pup, the next batter, and a pop out to Porter, and it was over. Nothing churning for these Diamond Hoppers. Fastball high at 89, 2-0 on Burke.
I think this is an opportunity for Burke, like we talked about, who has been frustrated with the lack of fastballs that he's seen. And to clarify, hittable fastballs is what he means. Sees 2 at the start of this at bat, but both well above the zone. But against a newer guy, only his 3rd appearance, hasn't been here very long. You might see a mistake pitch that Burke can jump on, and not necessarily a mistake in the fact that it's thrown, or where it's thrown, I should say, or how, but the fact that it is a fastball somewhere hittable for Burke, who likes those. But Parkinson behind the dish, probably not calling for it a whole lot.
Now the 2-1 through the 5-hole of Parkinson there is Rivera able to advance to second. So a little bit of a better start already. Check some scores around Major League Baseball. It's a very light day. Tomorrow is kind of when things kick off again after the All-Star break. A very rare doubleheader. There's a pair of them coming back from that All-Star game. Oakland and Detroit, along with New York and Houston. The first games of those two series have gone final, 3-1. Beering towards the outside corner as he whiffed through it. Tigers able to defeat Oakland 7-2 to kick off the second half. That was in game one that started at 3:30 or something like that. 3:33 or something crazy.
3:37 Michigan time, so 12:37 Oakland time. Interesting. But it's been reported that the Tigers are flying back tonight, so maybe that has something to do with it. It's a lockout doubleheader makeup.
Scuba with a nice outing, 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 unearned run, 2 walks, 9 Ks. Fulmer and Foley kind of combining at the end of that game to keep it where it was. As for the New York and Houston game, that was 3-2 in game one. Astros, they're now 60-32. Oh, it's a bad start for New York already now. 64-29.
Right.
With the loss to start the second half.
Kind of bummed that that doubleheader takes place today on a day where we can't watch. That was such a fun series to watch, that 4-gamer between the Astros and the Yankees first time up. It looks like a preview of the ALCS this year.
Oh, and too quickly here on Kreitzer, DJ LeMahieu, the local product out of Brother Rice and Michigan in general, hit a home run in that one.
Did you see that, speaking of Yankees, that picture of Giancarlo Stanton
I did,
in the All-Star game? Absolutely morphing a baseball.
I did. There's a lot of people jumping on that. It's certainly a good visual.
We've seen that a few times, I think, with some big league hitters and some big power hitters over the years, but I don't know if I've ever seen it to that extent where the ball nearly looked like it was cut in half.
Got to make a poster out of that, huh? 1-2 is flip back. A fairly entertaining home run derby and all-star game. Quite a bit of hype around the home run derby as well.
It's always, you never necessarily root against a guy like Pete Alonso, who was the favorite going into that, but fun to see an upset, fun to see Pujols win around.
Attilas to Hodo to Sikopoulos. 6-4-3, and just like that again, the Hoppers just reeling for a run as Rivera advances to third. The younger guys really shining in that home run derby.
Julio Rodriguez came into the game as, or the derby, I should say, as kind of an unknown entity. And man, when he hit 32 in that first round, I said, "Whoa, look out for this kid." I thought maybe he'd burn out a little bit, use up all his energy in those early rounds. But I think the adrenaline and that young blood of a 21-year-old kind of helped him.
High chop to Hodo. Quickly cuts it off, and what a job again by this Unicorns defense, shutting out the leadoff hits. Back-to-back innings, still 5-1 Corns.
Every summer, my family loves to have a neighborhood movie night in our backyard. And with my Chevy Blazer, I can head out and get everything we need for a great night. It has plenty of room for picking up friends, and the available hands-free liftgate is perfect for loading unhandy supplies. It may be movie night, but my Blazer is the main attraction wherever I go.
Lease a 2022 Blazer 2LT for just $239 a month for 24 months. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
We build roads, bridges, wind farms, and pipelines, schools to skyscrapers. Our members create monuments. We operate. We're the operators and mechanics behind the advanced heavy machines that move Michigan forward. We maintain boilers and HVAC. Our members run the complex heating and cooling systems that we all depend on. Our training is second to none, and safety is our priority. We are Operating Engineers 324, and we keep Michigan running.
Great seats at a great price. Get them safer, simpler, and smarter with Ticket Smarter. a proud partner to the biggest names in live sports and events, including ESPN events and iHeartRadio. TicketSmarter has seats for over 125,000 live events and 48 million tickets for sale, all backed with the TicketSmarter 100% ticket guarantee. Thinking about your next great live event? Think smarter. Think TicketSmarter. Get your tickets your way, guaranteed, at TicketSmarter.com.
Carson Ferry on for his second inning of work. Looks sharp in his first inning. Struck out the side, giving up only a single to Louis Attilis. But Lambert, Parkinson, and Hodo going down on the challenge of the top of the order, who did a lot of damage in that fifth.
Top of the order has done that all year for the Unicorns as well. No surprise that they do it again here today. It's always fun when these two teams face each other, though, and we talked about both teams' ability to respond to some offense from the other guys, and I certainly, until the fat lady sings, wouldn't count either of these teams out.
Colossi 1 for 3 today, 3-run shot in the fifth, strikeout, flyout. They shade him towards the right center field gap. First pitch to the lefty, swing and a miss. Six Ks in total for Hopper's pitching. Unicorns are nearing double digits. Now the 0-1. Ooh, buzzed him. Here's 91 right in your face.
Look out.
Malik Bolin on deck, then Leandy Castro. The first pitch that was slightly delayed here today. Did you catch our exact time? I forgot to write it down.
I'm usually pretty good about it. Did not today. The cars were distracting. They're fun to look at.
Little bounding ball to pause. Cuts it off. Just nips Galassi over at first. To the chagrin of some Unicorns fans here tonight.
Yeah, that was a close one from Galassi, and I think Paz might have forgotten for a second just who was barreling down that first base line. Galassi probably in the top 5, if not top 3, fastest guys in this league.
That's actually Riggleman down at first base, I believe, coaching. Got a big ice pack on his throwing arm. First pitch to Bolin. A curveball low, 1-0. Pretty good curveball from Carson Ferry in the 7th, or the 6th, I beg your pardon. A big reason why he was able to have some success. Popped him up. It will reach right field. Schellenbarger coming in. The second out quickly here in the 7th. Boy, this is just what the doctor ordered for Carson Ferry. Got his fair share of strikeouts in the 6th. Now gets some weak contact here in the 7th. Stealth softball there in right field. It was honored in between innings earlier here today from South Lyon. That's a long way. That's a long drive.
Yeah.
Not by my way. I know that drive. First pitch to Castro is high and away.
I know that drive because on my way to East Lansing, I passed South Lyon, and it's one of that like South Lyon. What are the other ones? What's the park? Isn't there a Pleasant something or a park something out there? I can't remember, but South Lyon is one of the exit signs I always recognize as around the halfway point.
2-0 on Castro. I don't know this park you're referring to.
There's something with a P, a park or a Pleasant or Pleasant Valley.
The only thing that comes to mind is Pleasant Ridge, but that's nowhere near there.
No, that's not it.
Castro with a single back in the 4th came around to score. Now the 2-0 tipped into the glove. The Fastball that kind of started middle and then tailed in on the hands. Highest fastball we've seen so far from Ferry today, 91. 94 his high this year. Now the 2-1. Chase to fastball high. Now the 2-2 from Carson. Curveball in there for strike 3. Strikeout number 4 here tonight. And a dazzling 1, 2, 3, 7th inning. That's the Carson we're used to seeing.
There are things you can rely on in this world, like your dog being happy to see you, coffee getting you through the day, and the government changing business regulations. And when it comes to navigating those regulations, you can rely on Tryon and its team of attorneys. Tryon can also tackle time-consuming HR tasks like payroll and employee benefits, so you can stay focused on growing your business. With Tryon, you don't have to grow it alone. Visit RelyOnTryon.com.
Always rely on Tryon.
What makes Detroit Mercy so unique is the fact that it's in the middle of Detroit, and especially with their service learning programs, you really get a chance to be a part of the community.
Detroit Mercy. Build a boundless future.
Calipetro on for the 7th inning here. You get a big-time double play, 6-4-3, easily turned after things looked like they could have taken a turn again in the 6th. Leadoff single by Rivera. He was eventually stranded at third. Then the walk by Burke, double play, and a ground out. Just the kind of day it's been for this Hoppers team.
Yeah, it really seemed like the Schellenbarger home run was maybe going to be a catalyst for this offense. The next 2 innings, they got the leadoff man on, both by singles, and were not able to manufacture any runs after that. And it's we've seen the good hitting kind of be contagious through this lineup this season, and it just hasn't happened today.
3 times in 6 innings, they've gotten 2 or more runners on. And in a tight game, it seemed like a big deal at one point. Not a tight game anymore.
You knew it was a matter of time before one of these teams had a multi-run inning that kind of extended the lead. And it was the Unicorns in the 5th. Still can't help but feel like the Hoppers might have it in them. But this is a good Unicorns bullpen, a really good pitching staff that has kind of been lights out in relief this entire season. If a guy like Keon Taylor or Perry Bewley comes in, they might be in trouble.
Lawler would be next, and Walker paws. Marcoux, Kozul, and Lopez Rios available on the bench. Wouldn't be shocked to see Marcoux at some point. We talked about him earlier. 4 hits in the last game in the non-public on Tuesday, really starting to see the ball better.
We saw a pinch hit home run yesterday in the non-public as well from Brian Leaf.
Yeah, that's the guy we were just waiting to see break out with that power. We heard all about it and hasn't really been able to showcase it much here at the professional level, getting really here in the USPBL his most playing time. He's played for 3, actually maybe now 4 organizations in pro ball, but most of the time he's been behind AA, AAA former guys, that is.
Yeah, he made me look pretty good on Saturday, I believe it was, or no, that's Friday, when I was saying the same thing you were just saying. That we've seen the power in batting practice, and we've heard about it from other leagues, and hasn't come to fruition yet. And then next pitch was a deep shot to left field over into the Chevy Pavilion.
But I think it was 29 home runs his senior year, some huge number.
Yeah, it was a big number.
Now the 1-1 on Lawler off the end of the bat there.
And even if he didn't have that number, just in batting practice, you can just hear it in one of those guys similar to Yadi Rivera when he first got here with the Diamond Hoppers. You just said, wow, that is a different sound off the bat. Not a lot of guys have that, and it's just right on the sweet spot, and a lot of exit velo to go along with it.
Swing and a miss, back-to-back strikeouts to begin the 7th inning. 2 different frames, though, between those 2 guys. Rivera, the big-built power hitter that you'd expect, but Leaf more of the lanky, tall.
Yeah, Leaf has some sneaky build to him, though. Sneaky muscle for a guy as tall as he is, 6'5", 6'6". And those long arms and that long swing can add a lot of bat speed.
Both of these relievers that we have seen here tonight have looked sharp. There is some more action in the Hopper's pen, but nobody really throwing, so it looks like Ferry will get his 3rd inning in relief. 0-1 fastball at 90, hits the corner for strike 2.
Calipetro is just filling up the zone right now. He's only thrown 2 pitches this inning that have missed the strike zone, not giving hitters any chance to get ahead in the count. He's leaning on the fastball, and it's been working. We've seen both hitters be late on it.
Close pitch. Parkinson trying to buy the strike. No luck.
He's purchased that a few times tonight, that low one. Typically it's the low and in that's been the called strike that hitters don't like, that one low and away.
Here's a 1-2 now. Same spot, maybe a little bit closer to the plate, but 2-2 now on pause.
Yeah, you saw Parkinson setting up middle low, trying to do like we just talked about, steal that low strike. I think Calipetro just missed it a little bit on the outside.
Sent it high this time, dusts him away, strikes out the side in the 7th. Hughes, Lawler, pause, go down, and this game remains 5-1.
As your neighbor who works at Ascension, Michigan, and a cardiologist who's practiced for more than 20 years, I'm going to keep asking, how are you feeling today? Your care can't wait. Getting care sooner can mean catching things before they get worse. At Ascension, Michigan, our ERs and our hospitals and other sites of care are maintaining strict precautions for your safety. Studies have shown that people will get care sooner if they're encouraged by their doctors, family, and friends. Get the care you need at getascensionmichigancare.com.
First State Bank is a locally owned and operated business. We're part of your community. At fsbcares.com, you'll find ways that we're making a difference by featuring locally owned and operated businesses, providing access to helpful financial resources,